This is Monday School. It's Wally's take on what he learned at church. Or at least the parts he understood.
So we were talking about what life would look like if we tried to live the way Jesus did. And prayer was important to Jesus. So, I mean, it should be important to us. If you remember the story in the Bible when Jesus comes to the temple and he sees people profiting and kind of making a mockery of the temple, what does he do, Lady Rock?
Flip the tables.
Flip them tables. And he's like, rah! He flips everything up. But what's more important than the anger about flipping the tables, it's what he says. He says, my house will be called a house of prayer. You're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So, I mean, it's like that's that important to him.
Yeah.
And so Jesus didn't just talk about prayer. He prayed. He taught us how to pray with the Lord's Prayer. So what does prayer do in our lives? And I kind of was taking parts of the sermon from this and then thinking about, like, I'm trying to grow my own prayer life as well. And so, like, first, it changes our perspective. It teaches us to align our hearts with God's and to try to see things like He sees them. And hopefully in doing that, it will then change our actions. You know, if we process things from a different perspective. Prayer guides our thoughts. You know, it keeps the bad stuff that can derail us at bay. You know, because we're products of our thoughts, basically. You know, that most sin starts with that thought, and then if we don't take it captive, it runs on us, and then before you know it, you're smack dab in the middle of it. And so praying helps keep us focused on what's good and true. And finally, prayer impacts others. You know, that's the thing about it. Like, it's good for you and your relationship with God, but then it's also good to pray for other people, lifting them up before God and praying for them when they might not be able to find the answers or the words for themselves makes a difference. And, you know, like praying for God to provide His peace when there's not understanding, praying for people to see God's hand in their circumstances. That's what I do too, because I don't know how God answers prayers. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When He does, when He doesn't, how He does, how He doesn't.
Yeah.
And so I a lot of times I'll pray for people in the midst of their circumstance, as well as outcomes I think would be good, but then I'm like, hey, I know you know better, but here's a thought.
I'm gonna just throw this out there.
Yeah, just spitball in here.
Yeah, I usually pray for them for like peace, whatever the circumstances,
exactly,
whatever the outcome.
Yeah, and that God, they'll see God working in it too, because I think that's powerful when you're in the middle of something, but you can see God's hand in it, even when it doesn't feel good. I think that makes a difference, and so it also too, if you let them know you're praying for them, it lets them know that they're not alone, that somebody's thinking of them too. And so if you want your faith to grow, I think it does start with having a healthy prayer life. And this is just me and my own personal life kind of realizing this too. And so this isn't like a lecture for you. It's like, hey, I need to practice what I preach. But it was something that's kind of, been laid on my heart. We also, prayer is important to WayFM as well. We have our prayer wall. You can post prayer requests. You can pray for people when you're there. And it's a really great thing. And if you want to be a part of that, it's really easy.
Just text the word pray to 91979 and we will send you that link.
And that is your Monday School for today.